Hey, what's up everybody and welcome back to News Dose, and we do now have a confirmation for that rumored Xbox showcase. They did officially announce it today with a date, what you should expect to see there, and also what not to expect because there is a big absence. But, and here's the thing, that might actually be for a good reason. Also, Xbox Game Pass seemingly is teasing something that could coincide with this event, maybe, maybe not, but we'll at least talk about all of that today. Also, Square Enix, they talked a little bit about Final Fantasy 16 and its exclusivity, and Yoshi-P had a very interesting response. Per usual though, if you do enjoy the video, do make sure to hit those buttons below, but I mean, other than that, let's get right into it, starting off with Spyro. Now, I grew up with the Spyro franchise, so that Spyro Reignited trilogy was just so amazing for somebody like myself. I love seeing these type of games come back. Actually, just repurchased this game on a Steam Deck just here recently. It's a dream playing it in handheld, by the way. But I know a lot of us are still hoping for that eventual Spyro 4. A legitimate Spyro 4. And here's the thing. Toys for Bob, the studio behind the Reignited trilogy, seemingly is teasing something Spyro related for 2023. So what's happening here is that they posted this over on Twitter, which says, big moves and big mood for 2023. But, and if you take a look at the picture, you can see in the bottom left, it has the Call of Duty Ghost Soldier. Then in the top right, you have the Crash Team Rumble logo. And then all the way on the left, and this is the one that has fans so excited, you can see Spyro and 25th, of course, referring to his 25th anniversary. So fans are now speculating that they could be teasing his 25th anniversary and some maybe Spyro-related announcements, and frankly, that makes sense. In fact, I believe that might actually be the case. However, and I hate to rain on people's parade here, especially when it comes to this franchise, again, I love Spyro, but I feel I have to point this out. There's multiple possibilities here. As much as I would personally love a new Spyro game, I mean, come on Activision, let's make this happen. But again, you also have to realize that Toys for Bob is currently working on Crash Team Rumble, their new arena platforming fighting game, or whatever it is. It looks fun, that's all I know. But in this game, you can play as various Crash-based characters, which is actually not the first Crash Universe game. This actually seems like a series by this point, because think about Crash Team Racing. And something that they did in that game is that they included Spyro with the remake. So you can't necessarily rule out the possibility of Spyro once again being a playable character. And that is something that they could possibly be teasing here. All I'm trying to say is don't get your hopes up too much. I don't want anybody to be overly disappointed if we don't get Spyro 4 this year. Again, I'd love it. But there is multiple possibilities. This could be Spyro 4. It could be him as a playable character in Crash Team Rumble. We could get like some type of Netflix show. I mean, everything seems to be getting adapted anymore. It could be new merchandise, and the list just kind of goes on and on. I mean, we could get multiple of these announcements, which that would be the best case scenario. But at the very least, it is great to see Toys for Bob show love to his 25th anniversary, and hopefully that will lead to some announcements throughout the year. Now, we also got an update on the Nixie Wizard. We talked about this controller a few days back, but if you missed that episode, this is a Gamecube-inspired Switch controller that you can either use as a standard controller, or you can even connect them in handheld mode like Joy-Cons. The design itself and some of its features looks absolutely fantastic. They're trying to remove stick drift entirely by using HAL analog sticks, but at the end of the day, the number one selling point is that you can essentially turn your Switch into a portable GameCube. This is also, ironically, the same year that it's rumored that Nintendo will be making a big GameCube push. There's rumors of Metroid Prime Remake and F-Zero GX Remaster, and, apparently there's a bunch of other GameCube games as well, but I'm just saying, this is perfect timing here if all of that does turn out to be true. But the reason that we're talking about the Nixie Wizard again today is because it's already proving to be immensely popular. In less than one day, is sold out, and so far from what I've seen, they've not given an update on whether or not it will return at a later date. Now, my take on that, though, is that I imagine that it will indeed come back. I wouldn't worry about this too much, because considering just how popular it's proving to be, there definitely seems to be a real market for a controller like this. It would be crazy for them not to make more. That's just leaving money on the table, and it also helps out their reputation by having a popular device like this. So I think it's really only a matter of time before they end up getting more stock. That's more of the question for me, though. How long will it be before they return? Hopefully soon, but what I will say is that if you are interested in this device, I'd recommend jumping on it ASAP next time it goes live, if it does. Let's go talk about Xbox, though, because they did confirm that rumored showcase today. They did officially announce it, and it is indeed called the Xbox Developer Direct. It will air on January 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Go and mark your calendars for all that. And the way that it's being announced, it does almost sound like that this could actually be a new initiative for them, rather than this just being a one-off showcase, which I think makes a lot of sense. See, fans for a while have been requesting more frequent updates for their games, and it appears that Xbox, they're finally listening with their very own Xbox Direct rather than just completely relying on E3, that singular event for the year. Seems like they might want to spread things out a little bit more, and I mean, when you think about it, this just makes far too much sense by this point. We've been hearing it for a while. Xbox is going to have their biggest year yet, and we've heard this type of thing year in, year out. But with all their studio acquisitions and them being under the Xbox umbrella for an extended amount of time now, we are getting to that point where it is expected we will see the results of those buyouts. 2023 is absolutely sounding like a big year, and truthfully, I mean, if you really think about it, that should be the case for most years going forward, considering the amount of resources that they have now. And this isn't even considering the possibility of Activision Blizzard. Suffice to say, these Xbox Directs, they do make perfect sense now. That narrative of Xbox has no games, we've heard that for a very long time, especially with the Xbox One, but that's quickly going to come to an end over the next couple of years. As for what you should expect at this Xbox Direct, though, let's go ahead and first focus on what's not going to be there, because this is a big talking point, and that is Starfield. We did talk about this the other day, but this is not going to show up at this Xbox Direct. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer before getting that deep dive and hopefully a release date, though, and here's the thing, this is actually good news on why we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. They were very transparent about this situation, which I think is a very smart thing. This way, fans won't be disappointed by its absence, but they did make things front and center here as they said this: to dedicate the proper amount of time for a deep dive into Bethesda Game Studios' Starfield, a standalone show is in the works. So there you have it. It sounds like Starfield will get its very own Xbox Direct, hopefully soonish. And as I mentioned the other day, I think that this makes a lot of sense when you think about it. From everything that we know, and from everything that we've heard, this is a massively ambitious game, and something far more grand than any previous Bethesda title before it. It sounds like there's a lot, and I mean a lot, happening with this game. I mean, we've already gotten a glimpse into some of that last year, but there is a chance with just how big this game is, and how important it is to Xbox, they might need a very, very extended deep dive to show off all it has to offer. It really could end up being like a 15+ minute showcase on its own, all things considered. Maybe even more than that, but again, it will get its own showcase, hopefully sometime soon. However, Starfield is still currently planned to release in the first half of the year, and I'd actually say that this news does kind of lean into that. I'd personally guess June myself. As for the games that will be at the Xbox Developer Direct on January 25th, though, they confirmed that Elder Scrolls Online will make an appearance. This will include a major chapter update and some new features that are coming. Forza 8 will also be here. All they're currently saying about Forza is that it will include exciting new details. I imagine a soonish release date. Mojang is also set to reveal more on Minecraft Legends. We actually haven't really seen too much on this game, but it will have an exclusive gameplay reveal, and honestly, regardless if you play on Nintendo, PlayStation, PC, or Xbox, this is one that you might want to pay attention to, considering it is a multi-platform release. And then lastly, they confirmed Redfall will show off both its single player and its multiplayer. This is something that we've talked a lot about. There has been some confusion on what exactly this game is trying to be. For a while, it's been compared to something like Left 4 Dead because it has a cooperative component, and then you're also facing off against the undead. But according to the developers, it's actually more like Far Cry or Borderlands, if anything. So here's their chance to clear some of that up by showing both its single player and its multiplayer. I'm actually pretty excited about this game myself, but with all of these games planned for the first half of 2023, I imagine that we will get official release dates for each one of these games. I'd say that the first half of 2023 for Xbox is likely going to be much more clear after this showcase. One little extra thing that I did notice, though, is that the Xbox Game Pass Twitter account is hyping up this event. They simply posted this: "Trust us, you guys are not gonna want to miss this." Now, to be fair, on one side, all of these games are coming over to Xbox Game Pass. So this tweet could mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. There might not be any new announcements. But at the same time, this could also be viewed as them once again teasing something for the end of January. As we talked about just yesterday, they already are seemingly teasing something when they said that we're just quote-unquote getting warmed up. And now we have this as well. Now again, does that mean that they actually will have something to announce here? That remains to be seen, but with that said, I guess we can at least talk about a couple of different rumors that are going around, and actually one confirmed game as well. Age of Empires 2, that is set for a January 31st release. That is coming over to Game Pass, so they will absolutely talk about that soon. But there's also a rumor that GoldenEye is coming at the end of January. We've been waiting for that game for what feels like forever by this point, and that might come to an end by the end of January. There's also some speculation that Shadow Warrior 3 is on the way. That did enter PlayStation Plus last year, but there was a leak here recently that seemingly points to it coming over to Game Pass as well. And then we also know that Warhammer Darktide is eventually coming over to consoles. It already released into PC Game Pass, but it should be coming over to consoles as well here sometime soon, and maybe by the end of January. That remains to be seen, but I do kind of wonder if they'll do a quick Game Pass update at this showcase. I'm not entirely sure about that, but with the Game Pass account hyping it up, I thought we'd at least talk about it, so who knows. One way or the other, it absolutely is sounding like an exciting start to 2023 for Xbox fans. Now, we also got an update for Final Fantasy XVI's PlayStation exclusivity, as this really has been just kind of this whole weird situation. If you remember right, when they first officially announced this game, it was noted that it was also heading to PC. Soon thereafter, though, Square Enix backed off on that and said that it was strictly a PlayStation exclusive. Then it was later revealed in fine print as a 6-month timed exclusive for PlayStation, meaning that it could release on PC sometime after that. So that's kind of where we're at. We've been pretty much assuming for quite a while that it will eventually end up on PC after like 6 or so months. But hang on, now all of a sudden Square Enix is backing off on that as well, as the Final Fantasy XVI producer Yoshi-P is denying an eventual PC release. This was translated by Genki, and you can see here Yoshi-P apparently said this in regards to a PC release. Nobody said a word about a PC version releasing. Why is it like a PC version is releasing 6 months later? Don't worry about that. Buy a PlayStation 5. Sorry, I went overboard. We did our best, so please look forward to it. So yeah, this just kind of adds to the overall confusion about this particular release and what platforms it will or won't release on. By this point, the only thing that is an absolute 100% guarantee is that it will release on a PlayStation 5. Though, and that's kind of the thing here, this is just my own personal take on this, but when I read this response by Yoshi-P, I'm not taking this as confirmation that it won't eventually release on PC. Now, the reason I say that is because Yoshi-P, Square Enix, and really for that matter, Sony, have invested a lot of money and resources into Final Fantasy XVI. This is a massive release for them, and they want fans, of course, to buy this game right away. They don't want people to wait for an eventual PC release. Now, again, I'm not going to go so far as to say that a PC version is absolute 100% guaranteed. We don't know that. But if I were to guess, just based on the fine print that we've seen now a few different times, it does seem rather evident that a PC version, at the very least, at one point in time, was in their plans. Now, whether that's 6 months, a year, or more, we'll see. I mean, at the same time, though, to be fair, Final Fantasy VII Remake has been a little strange with the fine print as well. If you look back with things, that was originally marketed as a 1-year timed exclusive, and it did eventually release on PC, but it also sounds like Sony and Square Enix, they extended their console exclusivity. Sony very much is trying to make PlayStation the home of Final Fantasy. That much has become very clear. And Final Fantasy XVI could be a continuation of that. In fact, I think that it is a continuation of that. If I were to guess, though, I think that it will be treated similar to how they did Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it'll eventually come over to PC. As to when, that's kind of my big question here. Let me know what you all think about all of this, though. Do you think that it will eventually release on PC, or do you think Sony will ultimately lock this down as a PlayStation 5 exclusive? Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, how do you feel about the first wave of Xbox Game Pass in January 2023? I'd say that this is definitely a different month than what we're used to seeing when it comes to Xbox Game Pass. Subscribers are used to seeing more games come to the service with a few surprises here and there, but in the case of January, we kind of already knew about these games being Monster Hunter Rise, Persona 3, and then Persona 4 Golden. The first wave is also coming a little bit later in the month as well. So this kind of adds to the mystique of January. So I thought I'd ask you all about this. And as you can see, 32% of you all actually believe it is good. 43% of you all believe it's good, but it needs more. And then 12% of you just do not like it, saying it is bad. So it does look like the majority of you all are satisfied, but you all still want to see more. And okay, I can understand that. The good news here is that it does seem like they're teasing more games. We kind of talked about that a little bit ago, but the way I view this first lineup here is that it's a little bit more of a quality over quantity type of lineup, because all three of these games are absolutely excellent. Now, I do understand that not everybody is necessarily into JRPGs, or maybe they just don't like Monster Hunter, and okay, that's fair enough, each to their own. But if you like these style of games, especially JRPGs, then these are absolutely excellent games. Persona 4, I'll say it time and time again, one of the all-time best JRPGs to ever exist. Please go play that if you haven't already. And for that matter, maybe you've never necessarily tried to get into these genres, and these here would be good games to maybe see if you like them. So yeah, I'm actually very happy with this lineup. Not necessarily for myself, I've already played these games, but I'm very happy to see more people get that opportunity. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.